Good evening, educators, and a very warm welcome to each one of you. On the occasion of Guru Purnima, we from Indian Institute of Education Management, we salute all of you. Today is webinar number 4 of the NEP 2020 series leading to Teachathon 2021. The theme of this year's Teachathon is NEP, and the Teachathon is scheduled on September 17th, 18th, and 19th. We look forward to your participation in this Teachathon. As you're all aware, NEP 2020 emphasizes that education must develop not only cognitive capabilities of literacy, numeracy, critical thinking, and problem solving, but also social, ethical, and emotional capacities and dispositions of students. This means that teachers also focus on socio-emotional learning, a critical aspect of any student's holistic development. Today's webinar is targeted on social emotional learning, discussing the needs of a student, a key area of NEP. We have Mrs. Manila Carvalho, who will take us through the principles of the same. Let me share a brief profile about the speaker, Mrs. Manila Carvalho. An educationist for 30 years, teaching is a passion for her. A recipient of several state, national, and international awards, she has widely traveled both in India and abroad in connection with education. She has also been featured on many regional TV channels as an educationist and women achiever. She has contributed many articles to various journals and newspapers and published papers in reputed journals. She is a resource person for many CBSE workshops as well. She is the founder principal of Delhi Public School, Bangalore East, a postgraduate in education and psychology, as well as a qualified special educator. She is currently a PhD research scholar with Annamalai University and has submitted her thesis titled The Effect of Academic Adjustment and Parental Pressure on the Mental Health of Senior Secondary Students. Who better to lead this session on social emotional learning of students? We are glad to have you today with us, ma'am. We look forward to an engaging session.
Yeah.
Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Lata. I'm humbled with that introduction. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this session on addressing socio-emotional needs of students, which directly impacts the mental health of all the students who are under our care. And NEP speaks highly about it, and we are all gearing towards making the NEP, functional or come to life in our respective classroom by following various methodologies that they are insisting on us. Kindly note, you need to keep your audio muted so that we can avoid distractions while the session is on. You may use the chat window to ask any questions. The questions will be answered at the end of the session. And there will be a small quiz as well at the end of the session to know how much you have, listened to me, or how effective I was in delivering this topic to you all. Okay, let's move on to the next slide, where we are going to see a poster on COVID. Now, addressing the socio-emotional needs of the children is, in fact, very, very apt topic at this moment, considering the prevailing situation. The pandemic has disturbed the social life and emotional stability of not only of children, but even for us as well, even adults. Now you need to watch this slide very, very carefully. And as you watch, you may get a lot of thoughts, very, very unpleasant thoughts to your mind, which you have experienced during this time. The difficult moments that you have gone through while taking the online classes, or the difficult times in managing the children at home, difficult times where you had problems in getting required ration home, difficult times when we were restricted to be inside the house and not allowed to meet our extended family, hard times when you have lost somebody from your family. This pandemic has given us sleepless nights to all the people all over the world. The anxiety levels have gone up and disrupted our emotional stability. Okay, now we are going to engage in one activity. You need to go to your chat box. I will be posting a link of Slido link to you. Just click on the link. When you click on the link, it will take you to an external page. Click continue there. It will take you to the Slido page where you will get to see a question. And you need to answer in brief, in a word or two, maximum 3 words you can give. Kindly click on the link. You will go to an external page, click continue there. It will take you to a Slido page. And you're going to tell me in a word your feelings due to the pandemic. And isolated, I can see one word isolated here. Yes, let the words start coming in. One person has already written isolated. 2-3 people would have written scared. Very true, very true. Can I have some more responses from the participants? There are 98 participants, at least 50% responses. I should be getting it.
Manila ma'am, you need to tell people to click on polls. On top of it, there are two questions. One is the poll. Ask them to please click on polls.
Okay.
On top.
Yeah, there's a question. Tell me in a word your feelings due to the pandemic, the poll. So please click on that. Now I'm getting the responses. Challenging, very good. Uncertainty, many of you have responded. Engaged, depressing, fear, frustration, engaged, not prepared for it, confused, helpless, challenging, engaged, fear. Wonderful. So thank you so much for these responses. Now you need to get back again to your chat box. Leave this Slido. Come back to the chat box. Okay. Now you're going to get the second question there. Now you know how to go about with the Slido. Okay. This activity helps us to be more tech savvy. Okay. Now go back to the second question in the chat box. Click on that. It will take the external page again. Then click on the Slido. Now you need to imagine that you are a student. Okay. First question was different. Now you are going to imagine that you are a student and you're going to mention your feelings. Okay. Lonely. Many of you have responded as lonely, boring, lost, missing friends, depressed, bored, no school, uncertainty, isolated, strange, scared, emotionally depressed, disoriented, missing friends, of course, confused, lonely, perplexed, irritated, restless, feeling alone, pressurized, unusual, confused, lonely. Thank you so much for these pouring responses. Thank you very much. You are an exciting set of participants and your responses are really, really appreciated. Now, if you see the feelings, both yours as well as the students, more or less are same. The pandemic has brought in frustration, anxiety, irritability, anger, loneliness, defeat, and so on. So all of us are in the same boat, but intensity level may vary. Now, today's session will help us to identify these feelings with the students, not only because of the pandemic, but also due to their growing stages and how we can provide them with a helping hand. We will move on to the next slide on objectives. Okay, let us just understand what are we going to learn at the end of this session. What is a need? What is a socio-emotional need? To analyze how do socio-emotional needs differ across ages, to point out key indicators of good socio-emotional well-being, and how to cater to various socio-emotional well-being needs of students. Moving on to the next one, what is need? Yes, now, very small, what is a need? Quickly come onto your chat box and tell me, what do you mean by need? What is a need? Just in a word, I don't want any sentences. Just type in chat box itself. What is a need? Desire, very good. Commotion, requirement, living, love, Wants, very good. Require, things essential. Wants, requirement, craving for, compassion, streamlined, essential, necessity, help, wonderful. Many of you have responded. Excellent. Thank you so much. Fulfillment. The last response came is fulfillment, happiness, and so on. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, need means it's a demand. It is craving for, asking for, and so on. So a need is a psychological feature that arouses an organism to action towards a goal and giving a purpose and direction to the behavior. So every living organism has these characteristics. Need is a requirement of an individual, no matter the gender, no matter the age, or even the status. All of us have our own needs. Need to have food, need to have water to quench a hunger and thirst, need to have parents and siblings and friends for getting love, affection, and moral support, need to have clothes to cover ourselves, need to have clean environment to maintain our health. You need a doctor when you fall ill. You need a job to earn a living. So need could be anything that person desires to have for self-satisfaction as well as for his comfortable living. Let's move on to the next slide and understand this Maslow's pyramid. Hope all of you are familiar with this pyramid. Can I have your thumbs up or thumbs down in the chat box? Thumbs up if you're familiar. If you're not familiar, thumbs down. Can you just, or write yes, no, that's also is fine with me. Just for me to understand whether you're familiar. Yes, yes, I got responses coming in. Yes, yes, some of you saying no, ma'am. Yes, no. Some are saying yes, thumbs up are coming. Yes, yes, yes. Wonderful. That's fine. That's enough. Now, let me explain this now. Now, Abraham Maslow, this is a hierarchy of needs. Now, in this, he has listed 5 levels of needs that people have. Okay. Now, if you see the bottom, at the bottom is the physiological need that includes food, clothes, and shelter, air, etc. Now, when these needs are met, when he is satisfied with these needs, he can look for another level of needs that includes safety needs, where an individual looks for safe environment. Now, what happens? Person who doesn't have proper food to eat, he doesn't look for a place for staying. Generally, he wants to, quench his thirst and hunger. So he looks for food. He goes on begging, and he may sleep in the bus stop or railway station somewhere where he gets some place for him to take rest. But he mainly longs for eating food. So when his needs of food and hunger is satisfied, then slowly he'll think of having a small shed for himself. Now there he thinks of having safety environment to protect him from, from bad weather or from harm and danger. Now he dreams of having a house that will give him safety to protect from, from animals or from robbers or from any bad environment. So when these needs are met again, he looks for another set of needs. What are them? They love and belongingness. He looks for friends. He looks for companionship. He looks for social gatherings. At the next level, his self-esteem takes priority. He wants recognition in the society. He desires for prestige. He gets the feelings of accomplishments and he wants the people to recognize him. And finally, when he reaches the top of the pyramid, he tries to achieve his full potential and self-actualization. Now, person feels fulfillment of one's talent and potentialities at that level. By this time, he has achieved everything, every stage is achieved in terms of, his needs. But as human beings, what happens? We need more and more and more. We are never satisfied. When the needs that are mentioned here in the pyramid at every level, if they are not met, they create anxiety, they create stress, the feelings of inferiority. Therefore, when our basic needs are not met, it is difficult for us to reach the topmost self-actualization, which is at the pinnacle of the pyramid. So human needs are insatiable. They are limitless. I remember this statement my economics teacher made long, long ago when I was in the college, and it was very true. Our needs are unlimited. We want this and that and the other one also. But we need to have a control on our needs to be contented and happy. Many times, the greed to possess more has led to disaster. Therefore, to refrain ourselves from becoming overambitious, it is very, very important to understand our strengths and weaknesses and then plan our desires. Right? Are you all with me? Yes, no in the chat box. Can I have yes, no in the chat box? Just for me to understand you are there with me. Right. Yes, yes. I can see you all responding. Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Now let us look at the socio-emotional needs in the next slide. We as human beings, we cannot live in isolation. And so we live in a society made up of many people with various temperaments, different attitudes, mindsets and habits and so on. So naturally in a society, we rely on each other. Sometimes if there is no tea powder in my house, I may go to my neighbors, give me some tea powder. Yeah, I forgot to bring, I'll bring in the evening and give it. Or there is no onion in the house, I go to a next house. We'll say that. Or if you want to go for a movie, you ask your neighbor whether she's free or not. So we try to build up the relationship. And we as human beings definitely need this connection. So it is natural in the society. Therefore, it is essential not to teach our children also that they need to be learning emotional skills that helps them to understand and manage their own emotions such as anger, frustration, loneliness, anxiety, the humor, love, and so on, which will help them to set as well as to achieve positive goals, to feel, as well as to show empathy on others, as well as to establish, positive relationship and making responsible decisions. Now, when children are small, when neighbor's house has got beautiful car, this child may come to your father, come to the father or mother and say, mommy, daddy, there's a nice car in the house, why not we bring? The important thing what we need to tell that child is to make him understand what is our capacity, what we can achieve, what can be attained from the facilities that we have. We cannot ask them to build castles in the air. We cannot disappoint them. But at the same time, you cannot beyond your expectations and, face a lot of challenges later on. So you have to see your budget, and accordingly, you need to plan and convince your child. If you start doing this right from younger age, children will understand and they will not demand with you such things, not to match with the neighbor or match with the friends. Okay. Now, then it is observed here that the people with strong social skills are better equipped to manage daily challenges. Okay. They are able to build positive relationships, for they know how to handle people with respect. They make informed decisions. Therefore, socio-emotional learning helps students sail smoothly in school as well as in their life. Socio-emotional skills can be taught and learned from preschool all the way through adulthood. So there is no more age bar to learn socio-emotional skills. Now let us ponder over some of the emotional needs of the students. One of the main emotional needs that I've observed is, I want you to tell me, what is one of the main emotional needs that children look forward for? Can I have you there? In the chat box. What is the main emotional? Acceptance, very good. Love, affection, missing friends, care, motivation, attention, wonderful. Motherhood, sympathy. Thank you. Thank you so much, dear teachers. But one of the most important thing is love that every student longs for. Yes, this is something we need to give it to our children generously as teachers. And the very fact that we give this to the children, you see the way they bloom. But how can we express love? Is it only through hug and kiss? Love can be expressed through a smile, a loving pat on the shoulder, could be a pleasant message, or conversing with empathy through rewards, through a smile, somebody mentioning there, to pleasant eye contact, yes, to giving attention to what children are saying. Wonderful, Kaushalya. Yes. Now, during this pandemic, many children have lost one of their parents. Some might have lost both. Now, in such cases, it is very, very important for us to understand those children and give them more love and all support to strengthen them and to maintain them their emotional stability. Now, to give you an example, recently, a child from standard 12 lost his father for COVID. Now, who was a single earning member of the family. Just the situation of this child. Okay. Now, since the father was in the ICU, they had to pay a heavy bill there. In spite of all the care in the hospital, the father passed away. Okay. Mother, she has kidney problems and she underwent surgery recently. This boy, who is a single child, and he also had to undergo a small surgery in his arm because their vehicle met with an accident when his father was alive. So in addition to all this, they had to clear 20 lakhs of housing loan, which his father bought. No support from other family members, dear and near ones. This child is completely devastated. Total emotional disturbance. Now, you come on the chat box as teachers and tell me, as a teacher, how will you help this child out? Can I have your response in the chat box? As a teacher, how will you help this child out who lost his father and disturbed completely? Can I have your responses? Positive words, Gayatri says, Padmaji says emotional, support, security, yes, guidance. Anjali says, Antara says, talk to him. Jacinta says, empathize. Mental support by Kavya. Prasanna says, console and guidance. Yes, support emotionally, wonderful, lovely responses I'm getting. Part of my side and part of collection to be given to him. So there could be mental support and parental care, crowdfunding, emotional support, positive words. Very good. Thank you so much for your response. I'm sure if you get such children in your school, you will go out of the way to help out these children. Now, as teachers, we can have personal chat with the, with the child, either through phone call or through video, guide the child on managing or daily routines, counsel them to realize that certain things do happen that, which are not under a control, and give them some tips how to cope up with them. So excellent responses. One teacher has written, stay connected, mother care. Excellent response in the chat box. Thank you so much for being so active participants. And you are amazing set of people. Very quick in responding and interactive too. This keeps me motivated. You might have experienced parents complaining that my child does not listen to me. He speaks very rudely with me. He back answers me and so on. Now, where does the problem lie? I think it is mostly with us as parents, for we seldom correct our children when they are small. The upbringing matters a lot. Of course, we need to love our children, but be firm in dealings. We need to teach our children how to listen to the others respectfully. Teach them not to break someone's conversation. Teach them to have eye contact while speaking with others. Respect the elders by addressing them either sir, madam, uncle, auntie, etc. Tell them to keep a pleasant face while conversation is on. Dress up decently to look elegant at all times, and so on. So these things will help the children to build good relationship with the others as well as to maintain their dignity. Right, we'll move on to the next slide and look at socio-emotional needs across ages. Yes, of course. Social emotional needs do vary across ages, but at different intensity level. Now, to give you an example, now Rajat is a 3-year-old child who experiences a fight between his parents almost every day. One morning, he could not get up on time to go to school, for he had a disturbed sleep. He was seeing his parents fight in his sleep, which was a routine in his house. He was still on bed. Morning, his father yelled, saying, "You are still on bed, you are getting late to school. What's wrong with you?" Child quickly got up and rushed to get ready and heard his mom saying loudly, "You will miss the school bus. What's wrong?" The child picked up something that was kept on the table and rushed out to see the bus. Bus just passed, and the driver happened to see him and stopped. "Rajat, what's wrong with you? You are so late to the bus. Come on, hurry up," screamed the driver. Reached the school. Then Rajat remembered about the book the teacher told him to carry the next day to school. He stopped and he was searching in his bag. A teacher saw him and hurried him to class, saying, "What's wrong with you, Rajat? You are already late to class and wasting time in the ground again." Everywhere, the child was questioned, "What is wrong with you?" But no one bothered to check what has happened to Rajat. What is triggering him to do this? Just see the emotional disturbance that Rajat is experiencing. We must be having many such Rajats in our schools. Can we make some effort to reach out to such children? An adolescent longs for peer interaction. This becomes their need. They seldom interact with the parents or teachers, but they love to spend more time with peers and try to identify with them all the time and look for emotional support as well. Especially the schools which has got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Teachers, you must have noticed this with the children. When the children are small, they're there with you in the morning. They like to wish you. They want to come near you. They hold your sari. They're going around you. But as they become getting into adolescence, they distance from you because you have not created that kind of rapport with them. They feel more comfortable with the peers. Okay, so when these children are small, they need warmth. They feel that they're just leaving the mother from home and they're coming to school. For them, the teachers becomes mother. The child needs the cuddle from the mother. But as the child grows, this need of the child reduces. They do not want any more cuddle from the mother. Many a times, they feel a little ashamed to cuddle the mother in front of the others, even if they want. Okay, when they are adolescents, what happens in the school? We have seen the adolescents, what happens? They try to cuddle others. They try to cuddle, boys try to cuddle girls. They don't know. They do this in the campus. You would have seen in the campuses, especially when you have your co-education schools or, even girl to girl sometimes happen, especially in those classes where you have 11th and 12th. You can see them behind the bushes or in the dark corners. This is done. Usually what happens, an immediate reaction, we shout. We must refrain from doing such things. Whenever you are seeing something that is happening, which is not respected, not acknowledged by you, or it is not accepted by us in the school, call them separately. Don't humiliate them. Talk to them one-to-one. These are the problems of the adolescents. We need to understand them. We need to talk to them and guide them how to go about and take them in the right direction. Children should have confidence with you. If you try to start reprimanding them and abusing them, accusing them, shouting at them, you are destroying the confidence level of the child. You may tell me, "Ma'am, those things to do on the ground, they have the intelligence, but not to do this thing." No, but what happens? Certain reactions, the emotional reactions happen immediately. So we need to guide them. If they are doing repeatedly, then only try to take action. First time happening, always there's a chance for the second time, but you need to talk to the children and explain to them what is accepted in the campus, what is not accepted in the campus. Let's move on to the next slide. This slide speaks about the stages of psychological development, which was developed by Erikson, a famous psychologist. Now, he described the impact of social experience across whole lifespan. If you see the circle, you can see that. Now, each stage in Erikson's theory, he builds on the preceding stages and paves the way for the following periods of the development. In each stage, Erikson believed people experience conflict, and that serves as a turning point for development. If people successfully deal with the conflict, they emerge from that stage with psychological strength that will serve them well for the rest of their lives. So if they fail to deal effectively there with the conflicts, they may not develop the essential skills needed for a strong sense of self. So each stage in Erikson's theory is concerned with becoming competent in area of life. Therefore, it is necessary that at every stage, children develop competent skills to face the challenges of the next stage. Hence, life skill classes are very, very essential to be incorporated in the lessons. You need not have a separate life skill class as such. While teaching the subject in your lesson plan, bring in a situation and see how you can impart that life skill to the children. Let's move on to the next slide to see the emotion change with the 5 to 7-year-old. Now, when you look at this picture the children of your school in your mind. 5 to 7 years old. They're just moved out from UKG, maybe first, second, third standard. Now, these children are getting into formal schooling after kindergarten. These children try to function more independently, especially when they're off to school. You know, in kindergarten, sometimes parents come along with them once they reach first standard. Okay, we put them in the bus, children try to come on their own. They learn to carry their tiffin boxes, carry their backpack on their bag. So they establish and maintain positive relationship and friends. They make friends in the class, they make friends in the bus. You might have noticed these children holding their friend's hand and walking to the classroom. They start developing a sense of morality by this age. They learn to respect teachers wherever they are. They come running and wishing their class teacher. Even if they know a senior teacher who is there and they know if the teacher is from the same school, they don't mind wishing them as well. They do that. They control impulsive behavior. They learn to bring the incident to teacher's notice without reacting to it immediately. Suppose one child hits another child. He will bring it to the notice of teacher. Teacher, he is beating me. Instead of going and hitting him back, he will bring the child to the teacher. So children know what is right, what is wrong. They become resilient. They end up fighting with their friends. They cry sometimes along, and again they get along. They become one with the child and they continue playing. So they will not, we have something called getting angry and frustrating, and you will not show our face to each other, will stop talking. Children will not have this. They will fight, they will cry, and again they'll patch up. That's why generally they say, whenever children are fighting, we adults shouldn't interfere because we may spoil up the relationship and not the children. They become aware of the right and wrong. They know what are the right things, what are the wrong things in the class, do's and don'ts, to maintain the class discipline, to behave in the class when the teachers are teaching, to behave in the assemblies, to behave when they're taken out for functions and so on. They will also be able to express an opinion as well as negotiate. They become very open to the teacher in talking. Moving on to the next slide, we'll see now 8 and 9-year-old children. They try to form groups and see if they get accepted by peers. Small fights do happen, but they learn to ignore it and mingle with the groups again. By this time, they will have best of friends. They want to have their birthday parties. They want to have the selected friends only. Evening, they want to go and play in the apartment. They go and play with the selected friends only. Their cooperative skills get strengthened. They are there to support each other. They try to establish independence and individuality. They want to be known by their own name. They want some kind of recognition in school. So they become independent and individuality. They want to make certain things on their own. I did this today. I won this today. So these thoughts come to their children. Moving on to the next slide, we'll see 10 and 11-year-olds. Now, children at this age, they behave appropriately in a variety of social situations. By this time, children are out in the society. They will know if they're attending any funeral, they know how to behave there. If they're attending a wedding, they know how to behave there. Going to a friend's house, for a party, the child knows how to behave there. So at various different situations, the children learn how to behave. They will acquire refined communication skills. They learn to behave differently on different occasions. By this time, what happened? Children have developed so much of vocabulary, they converse very well like an adult. They resolve interpersonal conflicts. They can understand the difference between what is a passive response, what is an assertive response, and what is an aggressive response. So even at home, they behave accordingly with their parents. Most of the time, mother has a little soft corner. And whenever they want something, they come to the mother. They know very well. They know the psychology of their mother. And mother may say, go and ask father. But he may, specify the mother to go and ask the father if they want to go for a field trip or if want some money to get something. Children modify their behaviors and try to get these things. They become more independent and responsible for their action. They value and respect rules and and authority. They develop more positive self-esteem. They don't want anybody insulting him in the class, insulting in the public. Children do not like. They get very much affected. Their mind get affected very badly. They may get angry. They may get into the corner. So, we have to be very, very careful in dealing with the children of this age. They also are resilient. Some of them, they bounce back immediately and get back to the normal. They have, building strength as well as they learn how to accept, failures at this stage. Let's move on to the 12-year-old. By this time, they are totally independent children. They demand to have their own space. Whenever you tell them, come on, let's go for a function or let's go to a relative house, I'm sure they will refuse. They say, no, I prefer to be in the house. I have this work, that work. Even if the work is not that, they will say, I have this, that work. They want to be independent. They want to do something, but they prefer to go alone with their friends outside. They learn to adjust to a larger social world with greater expectations and demand. They want to go for a lot of competitions. They want to go for a lot of conferences. They try to find acceptance in the peer group. And sometimes children do change their behavior to adapt to the peer group. But to change, they shouldn't get into a negative acceptance, but always the positive acceptance. They move further away from family and they become very close to friends for support. They learn to a large extent how to handle issues and growing concerned about sexuality as well as relationship. They manage confusing and unexpected feelings such as anger, rebellion, and so on. So the children, as they progress with the age, they manage to control with their emotion to a large extent with the support of their family and the support of their friends as well as the teachers. So some of them need additional support and guidance to stabilize their emotion as well as to bring peace. And that is where our role as teachers will come. In a class of 40, large number of children, maybe 35 children, will be able to manage in their life and move smoothly. You may get those 5 children on whom you need to focus more, you need to take care more, because they are the children who require your extra help. Let's move on to the next one and understand in the slide what is SEL. So SEL stands for socio-emotional learning. I repeat, SEL stands for socio-emotional learning. Let's move on to the next slide. Socio-emotional learning. It's a methodology that helps students at all ages to better comprehend their emotions and to feel those emotions fully and demonstrate empathy for others. Now, these learned behaviors are then used to help the students to make positive, responsible decisions and create a framework to achieve their goals and build positive relationship with the others. Let's move on to the next slide to see the social emotion learning that leads to increased academic achievement because their emotions are stabilized. They project improved behavior because they show the maturity, and they will get strong return on investment because everywhere they get good accolades or their positiveness. This means individual child shows success at every sphere. Now, do you all agree with me? I'm going on speaking with you. Can I have a thumbs up if you agree with me, or thumbs down, or yes or no, either way? You are there with me? Am I talking sense? Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much for your response. We'll move on to the next slide now. And let us watch a short video and we'll discuss this later. Okay, please have a look at this video. So I hope you enjoyed this small video, which depicts various emotions there. Can you come on the chat box and tell me what are some of the emotions that are depicted there? Collaboration, yes, wonderful. The little fellows were collaborating. Anger was there, adjustment was there, helping each other, adjustment, creativity was there, wonderful. Adjustment, intelligence was there, helping, coordination, wonderful responses. Yes, understanding, anger, to be humble, team spirit, wonderful. Thank you so much. Now, what was the result of being arrogant? Those two fellows were arrogant. What was the result of being arrogant? There was ego there. What was the result of it? Failure, loss. Yes, they died. They fell in that water and they died. Yes, loss, failure. Very good. Lot of responses. Now, what quality enabled those two little animals to cross the bridge successfully? Two little animals, they crossed the bridge successfully. They were sensible, cooperation, kind, helping, help each other, sympathy, understanding, collaboration, helping each other. Thank you so much. Dear teachers, when you're doing your lessons, bring in such kind of small videos and play them. And then you have a discussion with the children. You see how children will respond. When they respond, they will definitely learn to imbibe for their life as well. This is how brings about a change. Now we'll move on to the next slide to understand the 5 socio-emotional learning competencies. Now, according to the Collaborative for Academic, Social and Emotional Learning called KESSL, it's an organization that is devoted to students and educators to help achieve positive outcomes from pre-KG to 12. Now, SEL involves 5 core competencies that can be applied both in the classroom, it can be applied in the home or in the student communities and so on. So these 5 core competencies are, let's move on to the first one, which speaks about self-awareness. Knowing yourself better. It is like looking into the mirror to groom yourself. The person in the slide is looking himself in the mirror there. So self-awareness involves understanding one's own emotions, personal goals and values. Now this includes accurately assessing one's strength and weakness and having positive mindset and having a well-grounded sense of self-efficacy and optimism. Now, when I talk about self-efficacy, what is self-efficacy? Self-efficacy is how well or poorly a person is able to cope up with a given situation based on the skills he possesses and the circumstances that he faces. For example, a self-aware student after completing in 10th standard will know which stream to choose depending on his core strengths. Now, this will enable him to sail smoothly without any stress. Now, immediately after then, all the children want to take science, whether they're good at maths or not, whether they have the aptitude or not. We don't understand that. We don't think about it because they want to go by what their parents are saying or what the neighbors have taken or the other friends have taken. But we must make the children realize their strength and weakness and make appropriate decisions accordingly. Let's move on to the next slide to understand self-management. To take control and ownership on your thoughts, your emotions, and actions in various situations, as well as setting, working towards goals. Now, self-management requires, skills and attitudes that facilitate the ability to regulate one's own emotions and behaviors. This includes the ability to delay gratification or managing stress, controlling impulse, and persevere some challenges that are facing you in order to achieve those personal goals or educational goals. To give you an example, children who contest for positions of student council in every school, this is what's happening at the moment now, and who do not win the position, for not getting sufficient votes, they project this competency. It is not that they'll get frustrated and behave in a different way. They'll accept their defeat and gel with the group, take it along. We'll move on to the next slide, which speaks about social awareness. Social awareness involves the ability to understand and empathize the compassion and fear for others who are from different backgrounds or different cultures. It also involves understanding social norms, the behavior, what is accepted in the society, what is not accepted in the society, what is recognized in the family, what is accepted in the school or in the community, and so on. For example, children following traffic rules, children engage in crowdfunding for social cause, collecting material to support the flood-affected areas, or participating in debates in providing social justice, and so on. We'll move on to next one, relationship skills. Very important skill. Relationship skill helps students to establish, maintain healthy and rewarding relationship and to act accordance with the social norms. They need to build good relationship with their teachers. They need to build relationship with their family, their friends, as well as the society. Now, these skills involve communicating clearly, listening actively, cooperating, resisting inappropriate social pressure, negotiating conflict constructively, and working in teams and seeking help when it is needed. Finally, we go on to the next slide to understand making a responsible decision, choosing how to act or respond to situation based on learned behavior such as ethics and safety, or weighing consequences and the well-being of others as well as for yourself. For example, when the children are in groups with their peers, and if they are tempted to do any unethical things which are not accepted in the society, which it could be smoking or taking alcohol, sipping alcohol or use of other substances, some of the children learn to stand firm and say no to them. This is what we need to build in our children. The social and emotional learning, that is SEL, provides a foundation for safe and positive learning and enhances students' ability to succeed in school, career, and life. Now, how can we help child's social emotional development? We move on to the next slide. Now we are going to brainstorm here. You're going to come on to a Slido again. Please go on to the chat box. The link is given to you. Now you're familiar how to go to the Slido. Please click on the link and you're going to type the strategies. How do you help your students to build socio-emotional development? What are you going to do for your class? You have heard me so much now. Now, in your class, when you go back, what are you going to do to build up socio-emotional skills in children? Can I have some responses in the chat box? Are you able to click on the link? Yes, some response. Be a good listener. Yes, very good. Can we have some more? Yeah, be a good listener, connect with them, respect with their opinions. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, this is what is definitely required by all of us as educators. Respecting their opinions, connect with them, be a good listener, show them videos and ask them to speak, engage them with various activities, connect them, role play, respecting their opinions, share stories that are responsible, give them confidence, better facilitator. Wonderful, wonderful. Good responses. Thank you so much. So we can be role models for them. We can use stories to develop social emotional skills. You can just narrate with voice modulation, or you can use puppets, or you can use cartoons to bring out the emotional skill. You can use short videos, how I used just now to show you something. You can have role play in the classroom. Ask open-ended questions. We can go to the next slide, please. Yeah, now you can ask open-ended questions wherein children get a chance to explain the situation rather than yes and no. Now, to give you a picture of open-ended question, when you see a funnel, it has got a big mouth on top and a narrow tube down. Now, open-ended questions are when you're giving the funnel that opening and giving a wide choice for the children to think and answer. Those are open-ended questions. And the funnel like a tube, where it has to go in a narrow form, we are going to ask yes or no question, where there are no applications. Okay, those are the yes or no questions. So encourage more of open-ended question and less of yes or no question. Encourage children to involve in a lot of activities, in the schools, involve them in various games, spend some quality time with the children, listen to the children's stories at times. We are so busy with completing our lessons, but we do not have much time. I think when you listen to the children, at least make it a point to listen to one child in a day or two children. That will help you to finish all the children within no time. And every school, there are not more than 40 children. Most of the places, it is 35 to 40 range. Another important aspect is to introduce children to God right from young age. Teach them that they need to pray to God to keep them safe, to give them that they desire. Thank God for the blessings that they've received. Believe me, if you inculcate spirituality in children right from young age, they will not get into any wrong habits. But remember, in a school, we are not going to teach any particular religion. All religions are same for us. We are just speaking about every religion because our culture is respecting every religion. We are a secular country. We respect everybody. We celebrate every language day. We celebrate every festivals. The attitude towards every religion should be first started building right from the school. So let us not focus on any particular religion, but let us speak about God to bring this, spirituality in children. Above all, we as teachers need to do this work passionately. We need to take ownership of the changes that we desire to bring in children and try to nurture those qualities that are required for their happy and successful life. So we cannot work in the morning. I'll come at 8:30 and leave the school at 2:30 or 3. Okay, my work is over at home. I will not do. No, let us not have that kind of. Teachers' work is 24/7 because we teachers have taken the profession because we are passionate about it. Only if you're not passionate about it, then you'll have a problem to give that 24/7. If you're passionate about it, you will not have any difficulties to reach out any children at any given point of time. Well, we are all in the leadership positions as teachers, coordinators, vice principals, and principals. The staff members who report to us also go through social emotional disturbance. Let us be very careful while interacting with every teacher who reports to us. We are their first point of contact. If we do not give space for them to express their feelings, their emotions, then we are snubbing them in the bud. We will not let them bloom. Let us be human first and patiently listen to teachers' grievance too. With experience that we have had, with the wisdom that we possess, I'm sure we will be able to help them out. If you stand by any teacher during the time of trouble, she will definitely walk that extra mile to support you in completing the task that is assigned to her. All you need to do is give patient hearing to the teachers who come to you. Empathize with her or him and give solutions and guidance. Are you all with me? Yes, no, yes, no?
Yes, ma'am.
I can see you all. Yeah. Let's move on to the final video, which will give us more clarity about social emotional learning and how important it is to address right through the life. Can we have the video, please?
Challenging, unprecedented, uncertain. These words all describe what we're experiencing right now as students, educators, and families are faced with navigating a new normal. But as we plan for the school year ahead, one thing is clear: the intrinsic value of social emotional learning, or SEL. Here's why. 1. SEL can foster a sense of safety and be used with trauma-sensitive practices. Students can't focus on learning if they don't feel safe and supported. The COVID-19 pandemic and the crisis around systemic racism have created traumatic experiences for many families. These experiences contribute to fear, anger, and anxiety, and increase the risk of toxic stress. As part of a trauma-sensitive approach, SEL can help students manage their emotions in a safe and supportive way and set them up for learning success. 2. SEL helps build positive connections and relationships. This upcoming school year involves a lot of uncertainty, and site closures have made it difficult to maintain the strong relationships that previously developed between students, teachers, and families. This fall, whether you're planning for in-person or remote teaching, using SEL to build trusting connections within your learning community can help lay the necessary foundation for academic learning. 3. SEL helps address the learning inequality caused by school closures. Remote learning is inherently challenging and not always appropriate developmentally. Students who are already struggling socially or academically are often the ones who face more severe challenges with remote learning. SEL can play a key role in helping students build the skills they need for effective learning, from self-regulation to problem solving, especially in an out-of-school setting. 4. SEL provides support to teachers and staff. It's more important than ever to care for educators' well-being. By helping teachers and staff manage stress, build trust with students and colleagues, and stay engaged at work, SEL can strengthen the whole school community. Now is the time to bring SEL front and center. But don't just take our word for it. In a recent survey by CASEL with responses from 37 states, 84% reported that SEL has increased in importance as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And 78% of states reported that district-based SEL requests have increased since the beginning of the pandemic. We often talk about SEL in terms of improving behavior or its academic benefits. But SEL also builds skills that help bring us together in times of crisis and in everyday life. And in this uniquely challenging moment, SEL is a critical tool in both addressing the immediate needs of students, families, and staff, and helping them succeed in the new school year.
Yes, I'm sure this video has given you more clarity on SEL, socio-emotional learning. I think when the children get back to school after pandemic, both we as leaders in our schools, we will definitely have more work to set the things right in terms of stabilizing their emotions, both in terms of students as well as teachers. I think we are talking about learning gaps. Learning gaps will definitely be there, but at the same time, the gaps in socio-emotional learning also needs to be bridged. So I hope you will carry on the message to your respective classroom and bringing a lot of activities to strengthen the socio-emotional skills in children. Now, beginning of the session, I did tell you that I'm going to put up some MCQs questions to know whether you have understood what I have spoken about. So can we have the first question on screen? You can just answer in the chat box, the alphabet, the correct answer. The first question. Yeah. For addressing, yeah. The full form of SEL is, wait, I'm not able to see the chat box. Yeah. 1 minute, I'm not able to see the chat. Yeah. The chat box says B. Right, you're perfect. That you're paid good attention to me. Wonderful. 100 marks to all of you, full marks. Shall we move on to the next question, please? Child longing for love. Yes, right. Again, we are B. You are absolutely right. Very good. Full marks for all of you. Move on to the next question. Which of the following is not a characteristic feature of a need? Which of the following is not a characteristic feature of a need? Now here we are stuck. See the question, which of the following is not? It is not a characteristics of a need. If there is any option that is given which is not a characteristics of a need, slowly answers are coming. A, B, C, D, everything is there. But the correct answer is all the above. See, in the characteristic feature, we have, it's an action oriented, it is directed to behavior, it is physiological in nature as well. So need has all the three. So the right answer is all the above. D is the right answer. We'll move on to the next one. At which age do children begin to develop their own identity? At which age? They develop their own identity. A lot of changes, A, B, C, D, all. A lot of people are speaking about A. There are D's also. Yes. And the right answer is A. When there are 5 to 7 year old itself, they want to be identified with their names. If teacher calls by wrong name, they will correct it. Yes. We'll move on to the last question. Which among the following constitute the core competencies that need to be taught to students? Which among the following constitute the core competencies that need to be taught to the students? Yes. Absolutely right. It is D, all the above. So most of you have got 100 and 100. Of course, I think IEM also has got a set of questions which we will give it to you later. This could be a revision for that main questionnaire. So thank you so much, dear teachers, all the participants here. And I hope whatever has been discussed here or shared here, you are going to use it in your respective classrooms so that you can improvise your relationship with the children and bring out the best in those children to make the lifelong learners and positive learners so that they'll have a very successful and bright future. So thank you so much. Now the floor is open for any questions.
Dear teachers, if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask ma'am directly. Please go ahead.
Am I within the time?
Yes, ma'am. We still have time.
Yeah.
No problem. Vijaya Guha, ma'am, you have raised your hand. You can probably go first. Go ahead, ma'am. Vijaya Guha.
Can she unmute and speak?
Yeah, can you unmute yourself? Okay. So anyone else? Yeah, Pallavi Udupa, ma'am, you have unmuted yourself. Please go ahead. Pallavi, ma'am?
May I?
Yeah, please go ahead, ma'am. Padmaja, ma'am. Yeah, go ahead.
Manila, ma'am. Hi, ma'am.
Hi, madam. Tell me.
Actually, in the adolescence, they have these sexual problems, like they try to, this love and affair and infatuation and all that.
Yes.
This question is a bit embarrassing, but still, I think all of us are facing this kind of problem.
Yeah. Thank you for this question. This is my I love this subject because I deal with the adolescents. I do a lot of research on this topic, and my PhD topic also is based on this. So, see, one thing we must understand, at adolescence, there is a lot of physical changes, hormonal imbalance. So children do engage themselves in such activities. Okay, that is where our role comes. So they for them everything looks beautiful. See, this happens only when they are in that 9th standard, 10th, 11th, they're in that age group. The moment they finish 12th standard, they will not show this kind of attraction towards the others. There it is matured one. Only at this stage they want to be friendly with somebody, they want to sit with them, they want to hug each other, or they want to do a lot of chat on phone or Instagram and things that they do all these things. But in the campus, we must tell them there are certain guidelines which we need to follow, especially in a co-education institution. We do face a lot of problems when there is a large number. We have about, for example, 11th standard itself, we have 500 plus children, 12th standard, another 5. So large number of children when we have our teachers on duty during the short break and long break, in the corridors, in the ground, in the cafeteria, near the classroom, or some places where the cameras are not visible. Those are the places which children usually do. On the staircase turning. So these are the places which we learn from the children. So we put the teachers on duty there. And we tell the teachers, whenever you're free, you have a lunch, and it is on rotation, not every day free. So one teacher may get once a week, things like that. And teachers will do happily because it is for them, they are children, to maintain the discipline. And children at that age, they will not understand what we are doing because they feel the moment you reprimand them in front of everybody, they feel very embarrassed. The moment you find this thing, instead of taking directly to the principal's office, I never call the children to my office. I move out to a different location, because the moment you tell the children, principal is calling you, they get scared. They may make up their own stories. Entire confidence level will come down. So we need to protect the child. The child must have done this for the first time, or he might have done for the second time, doesn't matter. But our duty is to correct the child. There is a difference between correcting the child and correcting the habit. So we have to correct the habit. The child may be perfect. So let us kill that bad habit and not the child. So we have to keep the child safe. So we need to handle this. These things will definitely happen. And these things are slowly percolating down, not only for 8th, 9th, it is coming down to 6th, 7th also, 5th, 6th, 7th, where they write letters, where they post pictures, they sometimes go and kiss somebody. It happens. Children come and tell us. So we need to interfere. And whenever we do this, we have to do it very, very carefully without hurting the ego of the children. And don't immediately complain to the parent, your child has done this. Not necessary. Tell the child, at the moment you are done, I'm forgiving you. Please don't repeat it. These things are, I know it's an age, you must be getting that urge to do, but it is not accepted in the campus. You will have a day where you'll definitely have a life partner. For that, you need to wait. And before that, what are this? You have to complete your education, you have to get into a job. So everybody, you see the adults, all of us have partners, but we have crossed that age. But for you also, there is age. But if you focus on these things at this moment, your education will go for a toss. You cannot focus on your studies. You will, get less marks. You cannot concentrate. So you must go on talking to them, and some kind of counseling is definitely required for this child for some stages. And even when the teachers see this, they shouldn't nag them in the classroom, or shouldn't be a topic of discussion in the staff room or in the bus which they're traveling. It needs to be very confidentially kept and handle the situation carefully. Children do make mistakes, and it is natural in every campus. It happens. It's not only in your campus. In every campus it happens. I think we as adults who have crossed that age must learn to handle the situation, because when you see their age and in our age, we are much, much older with a lot of maturity. So they are immature. So these mature people should learn how to handle this immature children.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
Anjali, ma'am, you have raised your hand. Do you want to go ahead and ask the question?
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Anjali.
Ma'am, I'm very much fortunate to be a part of this lively workshop. I learned a lot about it, and I have my own kid, very naughty. I would be, in fact, now in a position to deal with my child also. Ma'am, I have a question. Like, I have seen children of maybe falling between 8 or between 12 years, and I have seen that at times they're very aggressive, at times they're very shy. They don't want to come out of the shell that they have, made around them. So at times it becomes very difficult for a teacher to know what the hell is going on in their medulla, and once they do not come out, how to break that shell and how to make them express themselves. Because we are not familiar at times with the context also of the children, and we generally deliberate upon the content without knowing the context. And I believe that once the children are not in a position to assimilate the environment around them, they are in their own world, maybe the fantasy world, or so-called the psychological imbalances going on around them on one pretext or the other. So how to deal with such children? What would be the best option for us?
Now, these 8 years to 12 years are children mainly from 3rd standard to 5th, 6th standard children. Now, what happens is, society is made like this. We are of varied temperaments. Our nature is different. Now, see, you has staff members. Now, when we have a staff members, all are not outgoing. Okay, some do speak, some don't speak at all. See, in a group itself. So a society or people are made like this. But in the class, what happens when you find such children? There are not all the children are like that. If you have a class of 40, you may have about 6 to 7, 8 children like that, or 10 children like this. Now, when you're having these children, have one-to-one conversation with the children. In the class itself, call them during the short break or long break and talk to them, ask their question, ask their name, who is there in the family, what mommy cooked today, what have you done, where did you go during the weekend, what do you like the most, like that. You have to slowly build up that rapport with the children. Only when the children feel comfortable, they do speak. Feeling shy is a nature most of us have, but organize some activity where the children will develop, given some leadership roles, maybe a small role. Maybe you can ask child, okay, come on, help me to carry these 2 books with me to the staff room, or can you go with this child to the infirmary to get some medicine for this child? Give some roles for this child, so child goes out. Sometimes they're in the shell, they do take time, definitely they take time, but we can give opportunities like this for these children. But one of the main thing is your rapport with the child is very, very important.
Basically,
the way you communicate with your child, does the child feel comfortable with you, or not. Sometimes children, if they see the teacher coming this side, they go from the other side because they don't want to, because they're not feeling comfortable. There are children who love the subject because of the teacher. There are children who hate the subject because of the teacher. This combination is there. So all the kids may not be at the same wavelength, but we as teachers try to bring them by giving a lot of opportunities, small opportunities like this. And one of the important thing is the one-to-one rapport.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
So teachers, please fill up the feedback form. We have just left the feedback form. Kindly give in your feedback. And there's also a self-assessment. Please follow the link for the self-assessment as well. And does anyone else have any other questions for ma'am, please? Okay. Sumati ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah. Few closing remarks, ma'am.
Yeah.
Manila, it was a wonderful session. We all
Thank you.
enjoyed. Whatever the information have to go, it has gone to the teachers. I think they'll all work in the classroom. There's a need of the hour, really. They all enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Manila. Really, it was a wonderful session.
Thank you. It was wonderful sharing my experience with you, my thoughts, my ideas. And you are an amazing set of participants, because everywhere when I asked you to respond, the response was just flowing like water. It was quick responses. So thank you so much, dear teachers. All the best to all of you. And I'm sure you'll definitely make your students wonderful human beings in the years to come. Thank you so much, IIEM, for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Manila ma'am. Thank you so much from all of us at IIM and on behalf of these teachers and the participants. Right now, we understood what the socio-emotional learning is. It's not just for students, but for the entire teacher community. And I'm sure, as Sumati ma'am mentioned, all the teachers will take back these learnings to their classrooms as well. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for spending your evening with us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
May I leave the meeting now?
Yes, Manila, and thanks for introducing more speakers on this platform.
Pleasure, my pleasure.
Yeah, that too from your school. It's wonderful being with us. And thanks, Manila. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Manila, I wanted to add one more information.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you, ma'am. Very useful session.
Yeah, pleasure.